Have you ever wondered why a disagreement across the planet can make your grocery bill jump or cause the price at your local gas station to spike overnight? Picture a busy manufacturing town. It produces incredible amounts of goods, but to sell them, every single delivery truck has to cross one narrow, aging bridge. If someone threatens to block that specific bridge, the town's entire economy grinds to a halt. Nothing gets out, and the businesses inside simply can't survive. That exact scenario plays out in the real world of global energy. Whoever controls this one specific global bridge effectively holds the world's economy captive. That bridge is the Strait of Hormuz. It's a waterway bordering Iran, and at its thinnest point, it is only about 30 kilometers wide. Despite being such a tight squeeze, roughly 20% of the entire world's daily oil supply is forced to travel through this tiny gap, and it is not exclusively crude oil on the line. Massive quantities of liquefied natural gas, or LNG, which is natural gas cooled to a liquid state for easier shipping, also pass through here to keep global power grids running. Because a full fifth of human energy relies on this single 30-kilometer gap, any closure here would immediately impact the global supply of electricity and fuel. You might logically ask, if this stretch of water is so risky, why don't cargo ships simply find a different way around? For major oil-producing nations like Iraq, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates, the Persian Gulf is a physical trap with no other ocean exit. There are a few overland pipelines built to bypass it, but their existing infrastructure holds a tiny fraction of the capacity needed to replace massive tanker ships. And routing those massive ships entirely around the continent of Africa takes far too much time and money to be a viable long-term solution. The world is physically trapped by geography. The energy must go through the Strait of Hormuz, or it doesn't go anywhere at all. So how does a country actually close off an ocean? You obviously can't build a giant physical wall across 30 kilometers of deep water. It turns out a wall is completely unnecessary. A hostile nation only needs to create a credible threat of violence to panic the maritime industry. By utilizing agile weapons like fast-attack speedboats, aerial drones, and anti-ship missiles, a safe trade route instantly transforms into a high-risk combat zone. This creates what is known as a paper blockade. The true gatekeepers of the ocean aren't naval destroyers. They are global insurance companies. Once the mathematical risk of an attack becomes too high, insurers will quickly cancel coverage. Shipping companies simply will not risk sailing an uninsured, multi-million-dollar vessel full of highly flammable cargo. The flow of global energy is stopped entirely by canceled paperwork and financial risk. Intimidation is just as effective as a massive naval fleet. You might be wondering why consumers in countries that produce their own oil, like the United States or Canada, should care if a distant strait is shut down. Look at this diagram of the global pool. The world shares a single interconnected oil reservoir. If 20% of that supply vanishes, desperate buyers don't stop buying. They bid up prices everywhere else to secure the fuel point they need. Because everyone drinks from the exact same global market, a disruption in one specific place guarantees a price spike everywhere. Surging global oil prices act like a mandatory invisible tax that instantly hits the average citizen right in the wallet. You can trace this tax backward through the entire economy. It raises the cost of aviation fuel needed to fly your packages, the diesel for the delivery trucks bringing food to the supermarket, and even the cost of raw manufacturing for everyday goods. Unlike skipping a luxury item when it gets too expensive, energy is required for survival. This invisible tax drains consumers' bank accounts directly, leaving less money for everything else. If a blockade at the Strait of Hormuz lasts for an extended period of time, the compounding costs of absolutely everything we buy could easily drag the global economy into a severe recession. The Strait of Hormuz functions as a direct valve to your personal finances. Subscribe to Global Lens for more clarity on world events.